So why did Vespasian create or begin the creation of the Jesus story, but the creation of Christianity? Well, in order to understand that, you have to go all the way back to 163 BCE and understand the Maccabees, the War of the Maccabees. So what is the War of the Maccabees? The War of the Maccabees is when the Jewish people revolted against the Seleucians and the Hellenistic influence in Jewish lifestyle. And so they fought, they battled, they warred, because the Jewish people have always had this Messiah story. And of course, Christians are going to say, well, that Messiah was Jesus, and he set up the godly kingdom, spiritual kingdom. But according to the Jewish story, according to the Old Testament, the Messiah, the anointed one, is more like King David. And he doesn't set up a spiritual, but he's a politician, he's a king, he's a warrior who sets up a actual kingdom here on earth, Israel. And you'll say that, well, Isaiah says that he was bruised and broken for our transgressions. Well, if you actually read that deeper, you will see that it actually says that the person, the entity that's supposed to take that is the servant of God. And when you continue to read Isaiah, you realize that the servant of God, and it says it, is Israel. Not a person, but Israel as a country, as a people, is to take on these transgressions, is bruised and battered and take on the transgressions. So, why the Jesus story? Well, you see, Romans always studied antiquity. They always understood that whatever happens in the past can happen again. Time is cyclic. So Vespasian was called in under Nero because now the Romans are in control of Judea. And when the Romans are in control, they say that you have to have a statue of Caesar inside your place of worship and give alms to it at least once a year, pray to it. And the Jewish people said, no, we will not have this Roman influence. So Jewish revolts were happening all over the Roman Empire. Nero couldn't handle it, so he calls in his favorite general, Vespasian, who defeated the Druids by defeating the Druid story. He understood that if you defeat their story, then you can defeat the people, control the narrative of their religion, you control the narrative of the people. So when Vespasian comes in and he takes over from Nero, disposes Nero, he takes over. So what does Vespasian now have to do? He have to continue to suppress this Jewish revolt. How does he do it? By changing the Jewish story of the Messiah. You see, the Messiah is not one that's hung by a tree, because that's a disgrace in the Old Testament. You take on the curse of man. How can God take on the curse of man and still be God? That doesn't work. So Vespasian had to create a more subdued, a more docile form of religion for the Jewish people. So his entire purpose was to create that by creating this fake Messiah, not the true Messiah of the Jewish people. This is why the Jewish people are still waiting for a Messiah, because they're waiting for someone who will be a conqueror and not someone who's pacifist. So that's why Vespasian did it.